This weekend, we celebrate Matins Choir in the many ways that they have led worship this year. Our sermon today is a series of questions that I ask our seniors about their experiences in the Matins Choir and Plymouth Church. Lennox, you have been involved in music at Plymouth from kindergarten. Not only have you sung in choirs, but you've also played and accompanied with cello. We are grateful for your gifts and sharing, especially this year. Share with us the meaning that Matins and the music experience has meant to you.
The music experience at Matins has meant a lot to me in two main ways. The first way is that it has been a way to showcase my talent to a large audience and provide me with encouragement to grow. When I was younger, I took private lessons that culminated in recitals for about 5 years. But after that, I hadn't had many opportunities to perform solo. Matins and other church performances gave me a space where I could take pride in how I was growing as a musician. Secondly, the music experience at Matins gave me an opportunity to be a leader in both the choir and in worship. Our main leaders in the choir are our YLT, or Youth Leadership Team members. I'm not a part of that group, but I felt a leadership role within my music section and within the choir as a musical person. I sing out and help others around me, making others feel more confident and helping the group as a whole. And the other half of the leadership opportunity was during worship. Matins lead worship through song and through music. Our message to everyone listening is found within what we perform. Being able to be a part of this choir and have the role that I did, being a leader in worship was not only a huge part of the experience, but a very gratifying experience as well.
Ella, you were one of 4 youth who approached me last summer about offering a summer book group that addressed the racial injustices that came to light with the death of George Floyd. All of you created a syllabus, created the content, and led the study. Tell us about why this is so important to you and your desire to share it with your fellow youth.
After the murder of George Floyd, I wanted Plymouth youth to get involved in discussions and actions related to racial justice. Plymouth always talks about their commitment to social justice, but I wanted the youth members to actually have a discussion and understand the importance of getting involved. The youth program often does a book group over the summer, and I thought that would be a perfect opportunity to do so. 3 other Matins and I approached Susan with our idea, and she allowed us to create a discussion group centering around the book So You Want to Talk About Race. We divided the book into 5 sections and discussed one each week. The topics ranged from systemic racism to the model minority myth and ended with a reflection of all that we had learned and talked about. I love that the youth program allows young members of Plymouth to take their passions in so many different directions. We really are so much more than just a choir, and I think this book group reflects that. Throughout our 4 years, we get to explore our varying and diverse interests, create lasting bonds with people from across the metro area, and grow as leaders. As the future of the church, it is so important that we get to shape the values Plymouth promotes and the work we do in the community. I hope that more members of the church take up Plymouth's call for social justice in meaningful ways and continue to listen to youth voices and perspectives.
Grace, last spring you began writing to one of our older congregation members during the early days of the pandemic as part of the high school youth note writers. As awkward as it was in the beginning, please share with us the experience and what it has developed into and what it means to you.
So starting back in April of 2020, a group of Matins would get together over Zoom every few weeks to write letters to older Plymouth members who we worried were feeling isolated as COVID forced everyone to stay inside. I was one of the lucky few who received responses, and I began to regularly correspond with Alden and Lois, both Plymouth members who live at Scottish Rite. Although we are very different people with large age gaps and different life experiences, we formed strong connections and learned from each other through the stories we shared. I wrote about my strange senior year, consisting of online school, Zooms with friends, and virtual activities. Alden shared with me about his time as a Plymouth minister and the college entrance process in the 1940s. And Lois wrote to me about her experience attending high school at Roosevelt and her job wrapping gifts at Wolf's downtown. We also covered more complex subjects, like the Black Lives Matter movement and the 2020 election, and I realized that even with our differences, we were still able to agree on difficult issues. Though in different ways, we were all feeling isolated during the pandemic, and our letters helped me feel more human when interactions with others were limited. Alden and Lois also taught me that the generational divide isn't as big as I thought it was, which is a lesson I'll take with me to college and beyond. My letters with Alden and Lois also revealed the importance of relationships, especially with people different than me. I'm so glad that I decided to be a part of the high school youth note writers, and I'll always cherish the relationships I formed with Alden and Lois.
Zoe, you have been involved at Plymouth your whole life, as well as the choirs. Over the years, you have sung many songs. What songs have meaning for you, and what is that meaning?
Yeah, so I've been in the youth choirs at Plymouth Church continuously since kindergarten. I'm not the best singer by any means, but one thing that has always kept me interested in a choir is the songs. Church songs always seem to have this innate benevolence to them, even if the particular religious message doesn't strike a chord with you. To me, church songs always have the ability to invoke emotion in a crowd and bring them together for those 2 minutes that the song lasts. One of my favorite pieces to sing as the Matins choir is I Believe by Mark A. Miller. If you haven't heard it before, the piece ennobles the words written in a concentration camp that read, I believe in the sun even when it's not shining. I believe in love even when I don't feel it. And I believe in God even when God is silent. The author of the short poem is unknown, but their words are immortalized through this beautiful song, which I believe also highlights some of the strengths of Matins. I always say that the two things Matins is best at in regards to singing is harmonizing and adding emotion to songs, which we generally execute perfectly in this song. This also speaks to who we are as a group, I think, in a more poetic sense. The harmonies we create are representative of how we are all from very different groups and schools and different parts of Iowa, but how we can all come together to support one another and make something amazing. The different groups we come from, I think, also allows us to be more emotionally vulnerable with one another, because it allows us to shed our preconceived social roles that we have fallen into over the years. The emotional brevity and togetherness that we as a choir show in I Believe is a reminder of who we are as a group every time we sing it.
Parker, what are some things here at Plymouth that have shaped and influenced you, and how will you take that into your next journey?
Well, my family's gone to Plymouth for longer than I can remember. My grandparents have been members here for decades, and both my dad and I grew up in this church. As disappointing as it might seem, I didn't have an answer to this question right away, but with some thought about Plymouth and my time in this church, especially over the past few years, I've come up with something. There are a few values here at Plymouth that I feel have influenced me really greatly. The first is fellowship. I've got great memories of conversations during dinners before Matins rehearsals, and sometimes during rehearsals, on Sundays after church, and during tour over the summer. The sense of fellowship, warmth, and friendliness at Plymouth is something I love, and it's something I'd be hard-pressed to find anywhere else. Related to fellowship is the practice of hospitality. Whether in Matins rehearsals, in actual services, or in Waveland on typical Sundays, strangers to the church are welcomed as members. There's a familiar quote I think explains this well. No matter who you are or where you are on life's journey, you're always welcome here. Being a member of Matins as I am, I'm part of a choir. I like singing, don't get me wrong, but having performed in church services on Sundays during the year offered me a sense of satisfaction beyond just making music. I think it's great to be part of a choir and a church with such a strong spirit and a solid history, and to know that I'm serving a purpose greater than myself is especially rewarding. I'm not going to be able to take Plymouth Church with me as I head off to college, no matter how I might like to think of uprooting the building. But the experiences I've had and the memories from those experiences, plus the friendships I've made and the values I've learned, fellowship, hospitality, and service, are things I'm sure will stick with me as I cast off from here.
Natalie, one of the things that I love the most about you is your willingness to help out with anything that I ask, as well as your willingness to befriend those who need a friend and journey with them. Share with us what being involved in Matins has meant to you over the last 4 years.
So, Matins has been the only thing I've done consistently for 4 years. I even graduated high school early. I think that says a lot about the program. As I've grown up and evolved by finding my passion and lifelong friends, Matins has always been a place I can turn to. When my world was spinning, I knew Matins was the eye to my storm. Although I am definitely not the best singer, it really doesn't matter. This program is set up not only to sing, but also to build relationships. I have met my best friends through Matins and couldn't imagine life without them. As I get ready to go off to college, go Redbirds, I realized how special this program is compared to any other activity I've been a part of. One of Matins' main messages is, no matter who you are or where you are on life's journey, you are welcome here. This message is so intertwined in what I believe Plymouth and Matins is. So Matins to me means a place I can turn to without judgment, a place I can be with my best friends, and a place I know will always be there for me even as I change.
Nate, you were the last of your siblings to participate in Matins. Watching them participate, what did you expect when you joined Matins, and how have those expectations changed? What does it mean now?
So, my brother and sister both went through the Matins choir, and being a kid, I helped with the service efforts that they did, and I realized how many friends and relationships they made through other schools and how fun and loving the community is at Plymouth Church. And going into Matins, my expectations managed to held up, and I really enjoyed the service and the friendships that they made and the community as a whole. The Plymouth Choir is an amazing community and a very loving, like, home away from home. It's excellent. Now, whenever I go to Plymouth, I realize how much I love singing, the people, the friendships, and everything about it. It's so fun to help people through service while maintaining excellent friendships along the way.
Claire, how has Plymouth Church and the Matins experience shaped your journey, and how will you take it out into the world?
Growing up in Plymouth Church has impacted me in so many ways. I've found strong friendships through Matins Choir, flourished as a leader, and learned the importance of community. When I first joined Matins Choir, I was unaware of the impact it would have on me. Since freshman year, Matins has introduced me to so many new friends from all different pathways of life. These friendships are ones that I believe will last a lifetime. Plymouth has given me many opportunities to gain confidence in my leadership skills. I have co-led a book club, led small groups, led service projects, and so much more. Each time I have an opportunity to lead at Plymouth, I challenge myself to rise to the occasion and do my best to make sure my group collaborates and inevitably meets our goal, whether it's something small such as getting to know each other or something big such as helping children learn about their faith. During my time at Plymouth, I've discovered the importance of connections. Plymouth provides a strong and loving community where we can explore our faith with respect and empathy for each other. Plymouth has reinforced my acceptance of others, especially those who are different from me, and shown that all are welcome within our church and community.